Hi, today we're going to be looking at Midnight Magic on the Atari 2600. This game was developed by Broderbund Software back in 1982, but wasn't released until 1987 by Atari. What little information I can find on the reasoning for this seems to suggest Atari bought up the rights for a whole series of computer games after the 1983 video game crash, and subsequently released them in an effort to get the video game industry back on its feet, and Midnight Magic would appear to be one of these games. This would be Atari's second pinball game, the first being Video Pinball, which was released on its own dedicated console in the arcades and also had a port for the 2600. Now, although they were by the same developers, this game is different than David's Midnight Magic. You may be interested to see the artwork on the cartridge and packaging for Midnight Magic shows a pinball game that's almost identical to that seen in David's Midnight Magic, and this table bears no resemblance at all to the table actually found in this game. Whilst lots of different colours are used in this game, the graphics aren't particularly special, but this in my opinion is more than forgivable, as a more advanced table design would really distract and make it a more confusing gaming experience. And the sound is spot on, it makes really good use of the Atari 2600 hardware, and it does a good job of creating an authentic pinball experience. The gameplay is great, it's really fun to play, the physics are absolutely perfect, the way the ball bounces and moves around the table. The only real complaint I have as far as gameplay is concerned is the joystick controller isn't particularly ideal for this game. The reason being, you move the joystick to the left and to the right to activate the left and right paddles, which causes a tiny delay in between being able to use the two paddles. But in a really hectic situation, this is more than enough to have you lose a ball. I would personally recommend emulating this game and then assigning the keys to the left and right side of your keyboard so you can use the two paddles independently at a distance, just like on a real pinball machine. This is obviously not the way the game was meant to be played, but I find it a much better gaming experience this way. As far as features go on the table, you have 4 flippers, one set higher, one set lower, symmetrically placed, which is more than enough to keep you busy throughout the game, in sharp contrast to Video Pinball where you hardly have to use the paddles at all. Hitting each of the 5 colour panels found at the top of the table adds a multiplier to your score, allowing you to rack up the points even quicker. With this multiplier active, you can actually gain yourself some extra balls by getting your ball over the rollover points found in the top left and right hand corners of the table. In addition to the obvious spots you can hit on the table that get you some extra points, there's also a spinner found in the middle of the table, and the faster you get your ball past the spinner, the faster it'll spin and the more points it'll get as it continues to rotate. As far as negative points go, there are very few. There's the very small point on the table that you can never ever stop the ball if it comes at from a certain angle, which seems to be inherent in all pinball games. But other than that, there's midnight being spelt wrong on the title screen and the ball square. But if I wasn't willing to overlook little points like that, I wouldn't be playing Atari 2600 games. But all in all, fun little game. Get it, sit down with a couple friends and a few bottles of beer and relive the wonders of pinball and retro gaming both at the same time. I don't think any pinball games can really truly recreate the experience of playing an actual pinball game, but as long as it's fun to play, I don't particularly care. So that's all I have to say about Midnight Magic. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.